offer you stories where we want you to think different so you act different. Let's go. Someone with No One, Chapter 6, A Garage Sale. As soon as I walked into the church, I knew I didn't belong. People smiled at me like we were friends. It made me so uncomfortable, I avoided making eye contact. Music blasted and a sea of white faces waved and clapped. The church seemed a bit bigger than it looked from the outside, and I had trouble finding a place to sit. Dozens of chairs lined up neatly on both sides of the stage. After about 15 rows, I noticed several round tables surrounded by chairs, and I went to sit at one of those. 3 large television screens spread across the front of the church, and each of them played the words to the song. I didn't care about any singing and looked around to find Chantel or her mother. I didn't see them to my left and looked the other way when an old lady with hair as white as Santa Claus sat down across from me and said, "Good morning." I smiled at her but did not say anything because while looking over her shoulder, I thought I saw Chantel. It wasn't her. I sat down and searched the church again. This time, my eyes zeroed in on a long line of people on both sides of the church. My curiosity got the best of me, so I got up to go take a look. I saw a table full of muffins and several large canisters which looked like coffee. The assortment of muffins reminded me I hadn't eaten in over a day. One covered in cinnamon looked so good, I didn't pay attention to the line of people buying them. A lady missing a tooth in the front smiled at me. "How much is a muffin?" I asked, knowing I only had 45 cents in my pocket. $1, she whispered. "Oh, okay," I said, stepping out of line. I went back to my seat with my stomach growling with dissatisfaction. I started to look around for Chantel again, but got distracted when a skinny man with blonde hair reached out a blueberry muffin. "This is for you," he said with a smile. "But I only have 45 cents. Don't worry about it. I just hope you enjoy yourself today." I devoured the muffin and listened to the music, which didn't sound too bad considering it wasn't hip-hop. I took my last bite and licked my fingers when the music stopped and a middle-aged white dude stood up on the stage. I examined his faded jeans and ugly lime green shirt, wondering why anyone would go to a church led by him. He raised his hands and closed his eyes. He appeared to be praying, but the way his right leg bounced made me think he might be dancing or having a mild seizure. I thought back to the pastor when I went to church with my mother, who dressed so smooth he could have been mistaken for a pimp. This guy was nothing like him. Everyone sat down, and the man in the Starburst colored shirt moved to the podium. He introduced himself as Pastor Derek and gave some announcements. I listened to him at first, but stopped when I remembered my main reason for being there. I twisted in my seat to scan for Chantel. A few people looked at me when I looked at them, but for the most part, everyone seemed consumed by the pastor. I turned in both directions, looked from the front of the church to the back, and still did not see her. I felt awkward because although I didn't realize it, I stood up and several people stared at me. I sat down dejected. I did not see her and started to leave when the pastor started a story about Jesus being on earth and looking for a garage sale. This caught my attention because even though I didn't know a lot about God, I did know how he had a lot of power. He is supposed to know everything, can do everything, and be everywhere. Why would he be looking for a garage sale? Of all the places in the world, why would he go to a place where someone is throwing out their junk? This didn't seem to make sense, so I kept listening to see where it would lead. The pastor started the story. So Jesus found himself in a neighborhood where nobody would ever want to live. He heard gunshots, saw the beam of a helicopter, and could walk in any direction and run into someone buying, selling, smoking, shooting, or making drugs. He crossed a street, jumped a fence, navigated his way past piles of dog poop, walked through an alley, avoided a boy on a bike, crossed another street where he barely missed getting hit by a speeding car. He approached a garage sale where the lady, who wore a scarf and smoked a cigarette, charged a fee to look at the junk she stuffed into a compact, dusty garage. Once paying to get into the garage sale, he moved over an old lawnmower, lifted some crusty blankets so he could lift a 50-pound bag of dog food and get to an old, raggedy, beat-up doll thrown in the corner. He picked it up and blew it, causing a cloud of dirt to gather above the doll and disappear. Seeing the doll's tattered head brought a smile to his face, and he pulled it close while holding it together in the spots where it got ripped so badly the stuffing nearly came out. He brought it to the lady, paid 10 times its value, and walked away. The pastor stopped talking, and I looked at the lady at the table with me and saw her crying. No one said anything. I didn't say anything either, even though I got the feeling my reason differed from everyone else. This man wasted my time talking about God going through all this crazy stuff to pay too much money for a piece of junk doll. I thought it might be hard convincing Chantel not to get caught up in this mess, but after listening to him, I knew I would have my girlfriend back in no time. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, share with someone else, and do what's got to be done. Peace.